Hello and welcome back to Medium Rare. My name is Rag Reynolds and today we have a quick show for you. 3 stories to talk about. Please excuse my filthy casual look, but let's just jump right into the stories. And so the first thing we're talking about today is rapper Tekashi 6ix9ine has been sentenced to 2 years in prison. Now if you're not aware, 6ix9ine has spent the previous 13 months in prison, and he's been in prison due to his involvement with a violent gang. 6ix9ine has pled guilty to racketeering, firearms and drug charges all around New York City. And in addition to his 2 years in prison, which he has already served 13 months of, he was also sentenced to 5 years supervised release and 300 hours of community service. In making the decision, Judge Paul Engelmeyer said that Tekashi 6ix9ine, born Daniel Hernandez, was a central figure in a vicious and brutal gang. Engelmeyer said that he caused mayhem around the city and used the gang as his personal hit squad. However, Engelmeyer balanced those crimes with the rapper's extensive cooperation with government investigators. Prosecutors had requested that he receive a reduced sentence because of his extraordinary and substantial cooperation. And what does that mean? That essentially means that 6ix9ine snitched out a lot of his former gang buddies. Obviously this means there are going to be quite a lot of people out to get Tekashi 6ix9ine once he is released from prison. And there have been headlines floating around saying that Tekashi does want to continue with his career as a rapper. However, he's probably going to move abroad. He's going to move overseas away from the US to do that, as it'll be a much more safe place for him to be. Anyway, let me know what you think about all of this in those comments down below. And now the next thing we're talking about is YouTuber Deji and his dog Tank. YouTuber star Deji's dog to be destroyed after biting elderly woman. So, what has happened here is Deji's dog Tank, his big German Shepherd, has set to be put down, set to be destroyed because it bit an elderly woman who had gone outside to receive her post. This woman went outside, the dog bit her. You can see here, these are the markings that were left on this poor woman, and now the dog is set to be destroyed over this. Deji tried to restrain the dog after it bit the woman when his mother let it out on the 23rd of July 2018. Court heard a later assessment found that the animal Tank didn't come across as a friendly, sociable dog. Deji was fined and his mother was ordered to pay the victim compensation. Deji's mother previously admitted to being in charge of a dog dangerously out of control that injured a person. Deji himself also pleaded guilty to being in charge of a dog dangerously out of control. The dog, which was 13 months old, bit an elderly woman twice, causing what the judge described as very nasty injuries. Deji then came out of the house to try and get Tank under control, but it then bit another person, causing no injury before it was finally restrained. After Tank was seized by police, it was assessed by Candy Desa, who told the court she did not feel able to take the dog off a lead. She said while most dogs accept a muzzle, she found Tank was very frightened with the attempts to muzzle him. As well as ordering the destruction of the dog, the judge ordered Deji's mother to pay an £8,000 fine of compensation to the victim. He also gave her a 12-month community order and 80 hours unpaid work. Deji was fined £2,500, while both were also ordered to pay kenneling costs and giving a restraining order from contacting the victims for 4 years. Deji and his mother now have 28 days to appeal against the decision to destroy the dog. And in a video Deji posted to his YouTube channel on the 17th of December titled "It's Over," he does make it clear that he will be appealing the court. He will be appealing and hoping that his dog can be saved. Overall, I think this is a very tough situation to have an opinion on. I mean, it's definitely very sad to have your dog put down. It's very sad to know that this is going to happen to the dog because it was a little bit out of control. But at the same time, I can kind of understand where it comes from. The dog is clearly quite dangerous to others. It's biting people. The police themselves have said that they've struggled to keep it under control and that it seems very scared and frightened. So I'm not entirely sure how I personally feel about this. I get where both both sides are coming from here. It's a terrible thing to have to put down an animal, and maybe putting the animal down isn't the right move. Maybe it should just be taken away from Deji and his mother. Maybe they're not treating it all too well. I don't know how they're treating it. I can't comment on that, but it could have something to do with the environment that the dog's in. I don't know. As I say, it is quite a tough situation to get a hold of here. No one likes it when animals are put down for whatever reason that may be. But at the same time, we definitely can't allow for animals to go around unchecked, biting people in the streets. Anyway, let me know what you think about this in those comments down below. And the final thing we're talking about today is Donald Trump has finally been impeached, right? So this has been something that has been ongoing for a long time. Since Donald Trump was elected in 2016, Democrats, even non-Democrats across the entire world, not even just America, have been hoping for Donald Trump to be removed from office. They've been hoping for him to be impeached. As of last night, Donald Trump has officially been impeached in the House. But before we get into any more of that, I do want to just quickly, for anyone who doesn't quite understand the impeachment process, who's wondering, well, how come he's still president if he's been impeached? I just want to quickly explain a little rundown. I've put a little graph on the screen right here for you. So the impeachment process. The House has drawn up articles of impeachment for Trump. Here are the possible next steps. So obviously, the House votes on these articles of impeachment. There are 233 Democrats, there are 197 Republicans. What they need here is a majority to impeach Trump. If they do not get a majority, then Trump remains in office and it all ends. But if they do get a majority of votes for this article, then Trump gets impeached and a trial begins in the US Senate. Now in the Senate, there are 47 Democrats, 53 Republicans. Now after this trial in the Senate, the senators will vote on removing Trump from office or not. Now, if less than 2/3 of the total Senate vote to convict Trump, he remains in office. Even though he has been impeached by the House, he remains in office. You need 67 or more, which is 2/3. 67 or more senators have to vote to convict Trump to actually remove him from office. And in that scenario, Vice President Mike Pence would become the President of the United States. So, with that in mind, I will now get back to what's going on here. So yesterday, the House voted for impeachment in regards to 2 articles. And the first article, which was abuse of power, Trump accused of using the power of the presidency for his own benefit, they voted 234, 197 against. And in Article 2, which was obstruction of Congress, Trump accused of blocking Congress's investigation into his alleged wrongdoing, the House voted 229 for and 198 against. Now, as far as who voted for this, it does seem to be a very partisan vote. And what's worth noting here is that while Trump is only the 3rd president to ever be impeached, he is also the 1st president to ever be impeached in a very partisan vote. In all previous impeachments, it has been a very bipartisan effort, with both sides of the aisle voting for impeachment. On the first article of impeachment against Trump, 2 Democrats voted no, while 1 Democrat voted present, essentially abstaining. 1 independent voted yes, 0 Republicans voted yes. And on the second article of impeachment against Trump, 3 Democrats voted no, 1 Democrat voted present, 1 independent voted yes, and again, 0 Republicans voted yes. So as you can see from those numbers of who's voting for what, it seems to be very much a partisan issue. The Democrats are largely united, all voting for impeachment, whereas the Republicans are all united in the opposite way, all voting against impeachment. Now, if you had to say who's more united, it definitely seems like the Republicans are, because not a single Republican voted yes to impeachment, whereas we had several Democrats who voted against it. But aside from all that, the question now is, what happens from here? Because going by that graph I showed you earlier, the process next is that a trial starts in the Senate. And now normally what would happen is there would be a trial and then there'd be a vote, and presumably the Republicans would all vote against impeachment, and that would be the end of it, considering they control a majority in the Senate, and you need 2/3 to actually convict the president and remove him from office. However, it seems like Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, isn't actually even going to forward these articles onto the Senate for the time being. Pelosi has made statements saying that she will not forward on articles of impeachment to the Senate until the Senate can confirm that they will hold a fair trial.
Could you presumably withhold the articles for weeks until you get what you consider a fair trial?
Well, again, we'll decide what that dynamic is, but we hope that the resolution of that process will be soon in the Senate.
So where we're kind of at right now is basically nothing's happening. People are celebrating on Twitter. I mean, I go on to Twitter and there's people all down my feed. Merry Impeachment, they're calling it. People are all, oh, I'm so happy Trump's impeached. And other people are all like, oh, you're terrible. How dare you impeach the president for doing nothing wrong? And I'm just sitting here like, who cares? It's like, nothing's happening here. Honestly, I don't see why anyone is happy about what's going on right now. I don't see what there is to celebrate. I mean, this is regardless of what I or anyone else thinks about Trump, whether you think he is guilty or innocent, whether you think he should be in office or not. I personally do believe that this whole thing has been a waste of time, and I say that not because I think Trump is innocent, not because I think Trump is guilty either. I say that because it's honestly gone nowhere. You have impeached the president. Whoop-de-doo. Now what? He's still the president. You haven't kicked him out of office. The Senate's never going to overthrow him. You haven't even put these articles of impeachment to the Senate to get that vote in the first place. So we're kind of at this stalemate here where nothing's happening. The Democrats can claim a moral victory because they've said, we've impeached him. Meanwhile, the Republicans can claim a victory as well by saying, well, he's still the president. So personally, if you ask me, I do believe the whole thing has been a waste of time. There are a lot of people who believe that this has actually helped Trump going into 2020 because it has riled up his voter base even more than maybe they already were in the past. However, I personally think that remains to be seen. I genuinely think the only way that Trump's going to get kicked out of office is to beat him in 2020. Now, whether or not that's going to happen entirely depends on who the Democrats nominate as their candidate. But that's a discussion for another time. Anyway, let me know what you think about all this impeachment thing in those comments down below. Do you think that this was a waste of time? Are you just happy they did it? Are you happy they stood up for what they believed in, even though that they're maybe not going to overthrow him? Do you think it was still a good thing to do? I would like to hear what you think about that. And that is where I'm going to end today's video. So make sure to let me know what you thought about any and all of the subjects we talked about in today's video. Make sure to check out my links to all my social media in the description down below. Check out my Patreon if you feel like supporting the channel, because my videos are often demonetized. Make sure to leave a like on the video. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Now, if you don't hear from me for a few days, just know that I am not dead. I'm off to go see the new Star Wars movie as soon as I've finished recording this video. And then tomorrow, Netflix's The Witcher drops, and I've been very excited for that. I'm a huge fan of the books, I'm a huge fan of the games, and I've been waiting for that show for quite a while. So I'm going to disappear and watch that like 3 times in a row before I resurface to the world. So if I disappear, that is why. And as a side note, check out my Twitch. Twitch.tv/mediumrarerag. I'm going to be starting to do some streams on there every now and again sometime soon. It should be some good fun. Anyway, until next time, my name is Rag Reynolds and this was Medium Rare.